Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and another month is in the book, so here's everything that I added to my Blu-ray and 4K collection in October 2019. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. You can also find me over Twitter and Instagram at Movie Guy 365, as well as over at the Disney Magic Hour podcast. I will leave a link for that in the description. Yes, so October is in the books, and it was a pretty heavy month overall, just in new releases in general. There was a lot to just pick up this month, and I also picked up quite a few catalog stuff in Blu-ray. It was just one of those months, a lot of good sales, a lot of good opportunities, some, I want to fill in the gaps. And I also have to be mindful of what I think might show up in 4K. So I don't really want to spend a lot of money on something that may or may not show up in 4K at some point. But, I still collect a lot of Blu-ray. My Blu-ray still easily outnumber what I have in 4K. And I just, there's a lot here. And let's dive right into it, not waste any time. First, we're going to go over just your standard Blu-ray stuff that I picked up. And like I said, a lot of it is going to just be your, just your standard catalog stuff. A few new releases here and there. First one is Addams Family Values. Absolutely love this movie. Couldn't wait to check it out. It's the first time ever on Blu-ray, which is crazy to me that this was a thing. But it was really nice to revisit this film in, complete HD widescreen. It was so awesome. So definitely check that one out. You can still get it really cheap. Also picked it up, and this is more because, I don't know, I saw a clip on TV, and I was like, you know what? I need to pick this up again. This is one of the ones I lost a while ago. So the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the first remake, right? It was like the first remake. Yeah, so, hey, Jessica Biel, come on, you can't beat that. It's awesome. So, yeah, this one I really enjoyed in the theaters. It was a shame we did not get a 4K release in physical format. I definitely would have bought that. But, it's just horror and comedies seem to be more or less the stepchild of the 4K format. Like, they don't get those a lot of the attention. But I still enjoyed it. It's a funhouse movie. I don't take it too seriously. And if you watch these Conjuring films, you definitely know what I'm talking about. Annabelle Comes Home. I think probably my favorite of the series. I also enjoyed Annabelle Creation. The first one, not so much. But yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot. And it was good to see Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga reprise their roles, even if they were just basically glorified cameos. But still a great movie, a lot of fun to have. And it's good to, crank the surround sound up, turn the lights down, and just have a good time. To me, it was a lot of fun. This one I picked up. I was a blind buy completely, but I enjoyed it. I heard good word of mouth about it, and that is Light of My Life. It's a small movie, and it deals, kind of with some heavy subject matter. But at the end of the day, it's still entertainment. I think that's very important in this, in this medium that we celebrate. But I enjoyed it a lot. Casey Affleck, I felt, was really good in it, and the young actress that played his daughter, also very good in this. As I said, very small movie, but you can still get this one relatively cheap, and I believe it does show up on streaming if you want to just check it out for yourself before buying. I enjoyed this one quite a bit. Also, this one was definitely one I picked up because I had this one before, but unfortunately, once again, I had to rebuy this one. But that is Her, Joaquin Phoenix, and I'll admit it was because of the Joker that I wanted to go back and just actively seek this one out. Plus, it also coincided with a nice sale. So, Her with Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson in the voice role. I like this one a lot. I understood I wasn't crazy about the ending. I understood why they did that. But it was just kind of like, okay, whatever. But it's a Spike Jonze film, so I totally get where that goes. But yeah, awesome movie. Her. It's definitely not for everybody, but I think you should at least check this out once. This one I picked up. This one I already have. But I had to buy it again because something was wrong with the disc, and I was like really in the mood to watch it. So I just luckily was on sale for that particular week, so I was like, all right, just rebuy the thing. It been like years since I bought it, so obviously they weren't going to go for an exchange. Wolf of Wall Street, not my favorite Scorsese film by any means, but it's still a good movie, and it definitely touches on some stuff that's still relevant today, even back then. Hey, nothing ever changes, but hey, Wolf of Wall Street, still definitely kind of a new pickup for the month. This one I bought because I'm a huge fan of Taika Waititi, and I never owned this movie. Like, I had a good friend of mine actually introduced me to this film several years ago, and it just never got a chance to get it on Blu-ray, and I wanted to rectify that immediately. What We Do in the Shadows, I've seen this numerous times, and of course the FX TV show is awesome. If you haven't had a chance, check that out. But What We Do in the Shadows, a great vampire mockumentary. It's excellent. It's really excellent, and it's just the writing and the acting is great in it, and it's just very funny, very satirical in that kind of humor. It's just really good. This showcases what he can do, what Titi can do as far as, like, you know, writing and directing. It's just really a great film. This one was a blind buy, and unfortunately, unlike Light of My Life, this one did not work out, even though it's got some great talent attached to it. Night Hunter. Yeah, just, it's okay. Barely okay. It's definitely one you might want to just catch on cable. I wouldn't necessarily recommend picking it up, but it's got Henry Cavill in it. It's got Ben Kingsley, Stanley Tucci, and you think that would be like a great combination. It's just the story didn't do anything for me. I mean, it had twists you predicted about 2 miles away. There was nothing that really just kind of was original about it, and it's just nothing endearing or memorable particularly. So, can't recommend this one. This one I can highly recommend. I saw it in the theaters, and once again, I was crushed. We did not get this in 4K, but I love this movie. I think it's one of my favorites of the year, and that is Crawl. A lot of fun. I went in with zero expectations of this film, and I was very pleasantly surprised. It was awesome, a lot of fun. But yeah, Crawl, definitely check that out. It's alligators and hurricanes, so yeah, you can't go wrong there. The Art of Self-Defense. Once again, another blind buy, and I was completely just blown away how much I like this film. Like, Jesse Eisenberg can be very hit or miss for me, but yeah, it's still a lot of fun. Definitely check this out. I recommend this one very highly. It's cool. It's really cool. And they do have a 4K edition on digital if you prefer the 4K edition. I actually did a review for that. But yeah, Blu-ray edition of The Art of Self-Defense. Awesome, awesome movie. And let's see. We also got the Ringu collection. I just did a review for this one, so check that out on the channel. But yeah, it's overall a good box set if you're a fan of the entire franchise in Japan. And it's definitely worth checking out. They also sell this as a single edition of the first movie. First movie is the only one that has been restored. The other three were just kind of HD transfers, so just be aware. But still great box set by Arrow Video. And this one I saw purely on Hulu, or it might have been Amazon Prime. I saw this one with the wife. Really enjoyed it. Never even heard of this movie, but I saw it for like $5, and I was like, all right, it's worth adding to the collection. And that is Sunshine Cleaning. It's good. It's really good. It's a lot of fun. It's not what you're expecting. And, you know, hey, Emily Blunt can just, I think she's like the modern day equivalent of Tom Hanks. She can just melt into any role. Mary Poppins, and then kind of like a crazy a role here. But yeah, definitely check out Sunshine Cleaning. It's a lot of fun. And then these ones I picked up for obvious reasons, just because, you know what? I'm convinced at this point we're not going to get a great Terminator sequel. I just saw Dark Fate and kind of didn't like that one, but all these movies have some enduring kind of thing, so I wanted to pick them up, add them to collection. I actually did like Terminator 3 and Terminator Salvation for little bits. I think Salvation at least had an original story. It wasn't so much like, oh, we're sending Terminators back in time. It took place during Judgment Day and that whole era. They never really covered that in the movies. This one did it, and I felt it's very underrated. Yeah, it kind of got a little cheesy, and I think it could have been a little scarier as far as like Skynet goes, but I still enjoyed this one a bit. And Terminator 3 is actually not the worst sequel anymore. I'm going to throw that up in the air. I think really, honestly, you can pick between Genesis and Dark Fate. But yeah, I wanted to get these. I've got both of these real cheap over at Best Buy. They're actually added to the $5 bin this week, so check that out. All right, that's it for the Blu-ray. Real quickly, let's just go over some of the 3D pickups I did. World War Z. Saw this one at Five Below. It was $5 in 3D. Had to get it. Definitely worth picking this one up. And let's see. And speaking of the horrible Terminator Genesis in 3D. This one I bought because I do want to check it out in 3D. I already know the story. You know, it's what it is. But I've heard good things about the 3D, so I'm going to check it out purely for the 3D. And finally, Toy Story 4, the only new 3D release I got this month. Liked it a lot. I still think that they should have held off. Just stopped with 3, and then maybe if you did another Toy Story, just brand new characters, might have worked a little bit better for me. I think they kind of tarnished the end of 3 a little bit. But yeah, yeah, Toy Story 4 looks great in 3D, actually. Definitely check it out. If you get a chance, you have to import this one. Unfortunately, Disney doesn't release 3Ds anymore. So, yeah, I think it's worth picking up in 3D if you're a 3D fan. All right, so that's it for the Blu-rays and the 3D. Let's jump right into the 4K discs. Okay, so now on to the 4K pickups for this month, and there were quite a bit. We had a heavy first week of October and third week in October, so there was a lot going on this particular month. So, all right, let's dive into the 4Ks. Let's take a look. First one I want to show is actually a gift from a subscriber. I want to thank Mike from Germany again. Very awesome gift. Thank you so much, and it was great to see this movie in 4K. John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. Awesome little box set here. There's a lot that comes with it, and it's I feel very underrated as far as John Carpenter films go. It's not like The Thing or Halloween or Christine, but it's a little horror film that just I feel really gets overlooked. And definitely check this out if you're a Carpenter fan and you like a good horror film. This is right up there, and it has some really kind of creepy moments, and it's good classic 80s Carpenter. I think that, you know, sometimes like it's just, you gotta look for these little gems, and I'm so glad I got a chance to check this out. I'm looking forward to picking up the 4K versions over in the UK for The Fog and Escape from New York. I can't wait to check those out personally. Also this month, It's a Wonderful Life. Immaculate transfer, honestly top notch. It's a black and white film that really shows off what 4K Dolby Vision HDR can really do. And absolutely check this out. If you are a fan of this film and you want to see it better than you've ever seen it, definitely check out It's a Wonderful Life. I highly recommend this one. Also coming out the same week was Wizard of Oz in 3D. Once again, another immaculate 4K disc. Almost a near perfect movie. I dinged Warner Brothers on this one just because they didn't include the original mono track. That's a bit disappointing, but they seem to have a history of doing that for some reason. But yeah, this one is pristine. It's awesome. I'm definitely going to be alternating viewing between this and the 3D version. I think both versions really hold out well. And I would like to do an A and B comparison video of that one day. If that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I think this looks beautiful, pristine colors, excellent transfer, and I highly recommend this one also if you're a fan of Wizard of Oz in any way, shape, or form. Yes, this came out. I got it mostly, I'll admit it, to review for the channel. It has its funny moments. It's not going to be anything I go back to very often, if ever, but it's still nice to add to the collection, and that is Stuber with, it's okay, you know, it's really all the jokes are in the trailer kind of movie. It's not particularly memorable. You know, it has its moments. It's just not something. You got to wonder why this shows up on 4K, but then, you know, we get other movies that don't get the 4K treatment, and it's like, why? You know, really? But hey, if it's there if you want it. Stuber, okay movie in general. This one, of course, is a classic, and it looked fantastic in 4K. Absolutely couldn't wait to review this one. This was one of my big ones for this month. Scarface. Al Pacino, Brian De Palma directed it. Amazing film. It's just amazing film, and it looks beautiful. It's a beautiful looking picture. It's just, you know, classics can really just come to life. I think more than anything, classics really show off the format and what it can possibly do. I mean, look at movies like 2001, Wizard of Oz, It's a Wonderful Life. Those are great examples of what a classic film on 4K with all that behind it can really just bring out everything. It's like you've never seen the movie until you've seen it in this format. It really just, it's a big seller in my opinion. Also, latest from the Disney Animated Library, Wonder Woman Bloodlines. It's okay. It's not as good as some of the other efforts we've had recently. I think Death of Superman was good, really good. Reign of Superman, not so much as good as that one. But then of course you have the numerous Batman titles that are very hit or miss. And I think that Wonder Woman doesn't often get a good animated movie. And I think that's kind of a shame. It's not bad. It's just not particularly memorable. It's just, and the 4K upgrade is minimal at best. But it's still, I think, you know, if you're a fan of the animation and you want to support it, definitely pick it up. But yeah, Wonder Woman Bloodlines in 4K. This one, I think a lot of us were waiting for because they released the sequel and the god-awful reboots way before this one. But hey, it's here, it's out. We finally have a complete, you know, unfortunately not complete, Guillermo del Toro. Hellboy, the first one, awesome, and I love the steelbook. Even though the steelbook and the slipcover are pretty much the same artwork, I just dig the steelbook. It's just, you get that coolness to it, and I think it's just pretty awesome. But yeah, it's absolutely worth owning. And you know, many a time I will be running a Hellboy, Hellboy 2 just back to back, and they both look amazing in 4K. Let's see, what else? Also, touched on this earlier with my little blurb about the 3D version of the movie. Toy Story 4, I will say, despite my misgivings about the movie itself, the 4K HDR look amazing. This is absolutely beautiful looking picture, in my opinion. Really almost reference quality, if not reference quality. It's just, it's that awesome. It really looks fantastic. Definitely worth checking out. If you're a fan of the movie and you want to know which format to get it in, I would recommend, in this case, the 4K. I think it looks fantastic. It just looks amazing. It's a really good looking disc. And this is another one, I think of all the ones this month, this is the one I was least expecting to ever get a 4K, but I'm glad we got it, and it's a classic, and it's definitely a go-to Christmas movie in my house, Gremlins. And hey, once again, as I said, classic movies look fantastic in this one, and this is no exception. It looks great. HDR really is like kind of offers a more darker picture, but the film is very dark. It's always been that way. So I've seen a lot of complaints like, oh, the film's too dark. No, Gremlins has always been a dark movie. I don't know what brightness levels were set up on somebody's, you know, VHS copy at home, but this is a great looking transfer. I think it looks fantastic. Not quite reference quality. There are a few issues despite, you know, how good it does look. But it is an awesome movie, and it's definitely worth owning in the format. I think, hey, if we can get Gremlins 2 next, I'd be very happy. This one, I was most excited for the steelbook of this one because I like the cover art. I saw this cover art on a poster internationally, and then they did offer it as a Disney Movie Club exclusive cover art for the Blu Ray. But hey, we got it in the steelbook form. I'm happy. I'm very excited. Frozen in steelbook, 4K, looks great. Fantastic overall picture. I can't recommend this one enough. I'm going to be watching it again just before we go see Frozen 2. But yeah, love the movie. It's really good, and it looks fantastic, and it has a good overall soundtrack. I think it's just a good Disney film in general, and absolutely worth owning. Once again, the 3D versus 4K format thing could be an actual series in the videos, but you know, I think both offer their strengths and weaknesses, and I think it's another one of those movies I'll alternate between, you know, here and there, how I watch it. Come on. If you're not a fan of this movie and not excited that this one got a 4K release, seriously, this is another example of great classic in 4K, Shining. I mean, The Shining is awesome. You know, just such a classic horror film. We got Dr. Sleep getting ready to hit theaters. This looks amazing in the format. It's really awesome. I had a friend over. We watched it together. Well, most of it, he really wanted to get the sense of what the 4K could look like with The Shining and how good it looked. And we just kind of found ourselves just watching the movie. And it's just one of those kind of films, absolutely worth checking out. And kind of cool steelbook in my opinion. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I actually really dig it. And this one currently is only a Best Buy exclusive, but that will change in a few months. They do occasionally get a 4K exclusive here and there. And honestly, I think the 4K looks amazing. I think it looks great. I think it's near reference quality. Picture looks awesome. Black levels are deep. Color, everything is just amazing about this movie. I enjoyed it a lot. I wasn't a huge fan of, I think, was it the 2000 version with Samuel L. Jackson? I thought that one had its moments, but I think it played itself a little too seriously. This one was kind of fun. I wasn't expecting much, but hey, Shaft, 2019 Shaft, I actually really dug it. I think it was a lot of fun. It was cool. It was just like, it was very entertaining, and I think at the end of the day, that's what we can hope for in a good movie. And hey, I'm glad I got the 4K format. Even though it's limited right now, it will show up in other retailers, so just keep looking. Check your Amazons and all that other stuff, but eventually this will hit everything beyond Best Buy. So just, you know, be patient on that one. And also Zombieland, with Zombieland 2 in theaters currently. This one I want to revisit. It's not a perfect, you know, 4K, but I think it is definitely an upgrade and worth owning. And if you're one of those that are new to the series and you're wondering if you should get it in 4K, I think you should. There's nothing really wrong with the Blu Ray version, but hey, why not get the best version available? And I also really dig the Steelbook. This might be one of my Steelbook contenders for 2019. Also look for that video in December. All right, so The Lion King. Absolute beautiful reference quality, I would say picture, audio, standard Disney Atmos fare, you know what you're getting into. Beautiful looking movie, honestly. As far as the movie itself goes, I think it's just too much beat for beat as opposed to like the animated feature. I don't feel it offered enough new. You could argue that Aladdin kind of did things new and that was enough of a difference, and I would defend that position. This one was way too beat for beat, and I think that kind of hurt it. And also, I wasn't a huge fan of the song choices. There's several songs I was like, why is this playing? Like, it just didn't fit with what was going on. Even when I looked up the lyrics, I'm like, okay, you're sure, well, that's a choice. And apparently I'm not the only one who thinks that way, because Elton John even came out and said, I'm not so sure about the songs in there. But I don't know, it's worth checking out. But if you've never seen it and you've seen the original, you're not missing much. There's nothing I was like, oh, you know what, this did a lot better, this. But I will say, if you do pick it up in 4K, the picture quality is absolutely stunning. All right, so this one, I went literally until the day of deciding whether I was going to get it or not. And being like, you know, a huge supporter of 4K, I didn't want to try to send a message saying that I wasn't going to support the format. And even though I hate box sets that are incomplete, we all know that there's another Bond film coming. You know, it's just also, I wanted to actually just, you know, say, hey, let's get them in 4K. Let's send a message to the studio that, yeah, we want more Bond films in the format. So 007 collection with Daniel Craig, I think overall is a worthwhile purchase, especially if you can get it for cheap. I have a feeling this might be one of those Black Friday deals. You get it for like 20, 25 bucks, and that would be an amazing steal. But yeah, it's worth checking out. I think for the most part, they're good transfers. Like, I would say probably the weakest in my opinion would be probably Quantum Solace. That one it just didn't look, you know, very 4K, Dolby Vision, HDR. It just didn't have that touch to it. And I think, I just saw, you know, just go check out my video, my thoughts on the box set. Check that out. It's in the channel. I review all 4 films, and it's a mixed bag, but I feel overall it's worth the pickup, especially if you can get it for real cheap. This one was also another divisive one among fans, and I still own my Criterion. I'm not going to be giving that up anytime soon because I feel Criterion does certain things right that obviously a studio release will not. And I still enjoyed it. I think, you know, as long as Guillermo del Toro didn't come out and say, you know what, this is not how it's supposed to look, I'm going to go that this is our intended look for the film. And it's also an amazing del Toro film, Pan's Labyrinth. I recommend picking this one up. If you're on the fence, I say if you're a fan and you really want to just see how I think it's, you know, it was intended to look as far as like the director's choice and everything, because he's very adamant, and I know he would have said something if this was not supposed to be the way it was. So Pan's Labyrinth in 4K, check it out. This one I picked up for, I had it on my wish list. Look, these are bad movies. These are not great movies, but I enjoyed these particular bad movies quite a bit. And of course, you know, hey, The Baroness has always been one of my, fantasy crushes. And I think Sienna Miller really does a great Baroness. And I got these. They didn't release these here in the States in 4K. You can get them on Blu Ray, no problem. But I really wanted to get these. They're cheesy films. The G.I. Joe collection, Amazon literally had this for, like, Amazon UK had this for like 20 bucks. And you know what? To me, they're $20 4Ks. I'm on board for that one. And I had this in my wish list for like a year and a half, and then finally somebody posted a good price for it. Hey, they're bad, but they look great in 4K actually. They look really, really good. Look, I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I like the Steelbooks, as you can see right here. All the Marvel Steelbooks here, except for Incredible Hulk. I don't know, hopefully we'll ever get a Steelbook for that one. But, you know, I was not a fan of the cover of the Steelbook for Spider-Man Far From Home, but I did finally decide to get it. I didn't want some weird gap in my collection, but I got the slipcover. And honestly, I'm kind of glad I got both versions. Long story short, when I was reviewing the 4K for this one, I used the Steelbook edition, and the disc is just completely, it's just issues with the disc. Like, it would not play on my player. I tried it on a different thing. It wouldn't still play on that player either, my backup. And I'm like, you know what? Eventually I would go to the store and exchange it, which I did. But having this copy in my possession, I just used that disc, played fine, was able to do my review, watch it, all that other fun stuff. But yeah, sometimes buying a second copy is not the worst idea in the world. But I did actually take the other one back and got an exchange, and that one works fine. So Spider-Man Far From Home, 2 copies. Hey, it actually worked out in my favor this time. And speaking of Marvel, the Marvel 4Ks are officially finished as far as, like, you know, caught up. And everything's been released in the 4K format now. So the last releases this month came the first week of October. Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, and Guardians of the Galaxy. All great films, all a lot of fun. I did reviews for all of these. So yeah, just check those out in the channel. I did reviews for pretty much most of the stuff you see here. So just go ahead and search in the channel and let me know in the comments below. What did you pick up in October, and what are you looking forward to in November? We've got quite a bit coming out in that first week again. I don't know what's going on with the first week thing lately, but hey, first week seems to be very heavy as far as releases go, but we got a bunch of Disney stuff coming next month, and supposedly stuff coming in December. They're going to round out the 4K Pixar stuff. Anyway, so as I said, let me know in the comments below what you picked up in October. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I'll put out videos every single day. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.